Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, the day after Christmas, whatever day you're watching this, thanks for spending some of your holiday here with us. We're not taking any breaks. We have to have a show every single week. And this week, an important one because Illinois has a bowl game that they're playing here next week. We got to make sure we have all of our thoughts and the game fleshed out as much as we can before that game kicks off. Yeah, that is a Karen Eisert special. We're still trying to get her to understand what the name of the show actually is, but she said this was made specifically for this show. All right, season superlatives, not-so-superlatives, best, worst performance. We're giving all these out here on this show. Then we're going to talk Music City Bowl, and then I'm going to give you my national title pick as well, just to make sure we have it on record, Superlatives. Who showed up every week? If Illinois didn't have these guys, how much worse would they be? What kind of season would they be? But we don't know, but we know that it wouldn't be as good. These guys are kind of obvious. First one, Luke Altmaier. He's just so gutsy. He's been really good all year. His numbers are great. You know that he cares about Illinois. I think that's my favorite thing about him, talking to him, watching him play. Not from Illinois, didn't even start his career here, but he cares a lot about the school, about the team, about the football program, and how well the football program is doing. And he's a big reason for a lot of the success the last couple of years. No different this year. He was really good in pretty much every single game that Illinois played. And I know he's a senior. I know he has a lot of experience. Still, you don't get the kind of consistency that Luke Altmaier gave Illinois a lot of the times. And I think he's really spoiled Illinois fans the last couple of years. Don't know what's coming next at that quarterback position. Could be rocky. We don't know. We really have no idea. Without Luke Altmaier and his consistency that I've mentioned, 21 touchdowns, only 5 picks all year, really started getting going in the running game late in the year. I think without Luke Altmaier, Illinois might not be bowl eligible just for the simple fact that we don't know what else Illinois has at quarterback really. They might not even be bowl eligible. So first superlative to Luke Altmaier on a great year. The next one, Gabe Akis. I think he's clearly the best defensive player. Miles Scott was considered for this, but Gabe Akis just can't ignore him. His impact on games is just so high. He could do so many different things at that outside linebacker position. He stopped the run pretty well, and of course, he got to the quarterback. That's his calling card. 11 sacks this year. Really impressive. The one thing about Gabe Akis this year is that there's not that one huge play that he made that you're like, oh, I'm going to remember that forever, that play won us the game. But that's okay. Sometimes consistency isn't flashy, and that's Gabe Akis, at least this year. I think he's second all-time in the program's history in sacks now. He's probably going to be a early day two NFL draft pick, I think. He's not going to play in the Music City Bowl. We'll get to that a little bit later. But another really good year for Gabe Akis. He could have gone to the NFL last year, decided to come back, wanted to win a little bit more at Illinois. Glad he did. Really good player. Second superlative goes to Gabe Akis. He's the defensive guy that we decided to profile. Miles Scott, I thought was close, but again, 11 sacks. You can't ignore that. So those are our two superlatives individually that we're going to give out. What were the disappointments? What were the not-so-superlatives at not specific games? I'm sticking to position groups here. I'm not going to call out just one person because I don't think one person in a collective on one side of the ball makes all that much of a difference most of the time. So I'm sticking to position groups. The offensive line was not good this year. Not good at all. They brought all those guys back, and they were saying, hey, could we be the best offensive line in college football preseason? And no. Luke Altmaier had no time all year long. Nowhere for him to go. The running game was terrible for most of the year. It got going a little bit later in the year, and some of that blame can be put on the backs for sure. But the offensive line left a lot to be desired. Altmaier, like I mentioned, he just got hit way too much. He was sacked 31 times. That's 111th in the FBS in terms of most sacks given up. Run game was bad, like I mentioned, 3.8 yards per carry. It's not very good. And the offensive line in a couple of games specifically just killed them. Killed them against Indiana. I mean, Luke Altmaier had a second to throw before he was put on his back. And then in the Wisconsin game where they couldn't get anything going, offensive line was a big reason for that. The other one is the defense. The defense just wasn't very good. And most metrics that they have are in the 50s or worse in the FBS. And it's just not good. It just wasn't great. And I think we expected a little bit more from the defense. I'm not sure I expected them to be top 10 in the country, certainly. But thought they could be a little bit better than this. Washington, Indiana, Wisconsin, all were terrible. Terrible performance, especially Washington, where they were coming off a bye. It was a must-win game for them and for their season, and the defense just did not show up whatsoever. Washington did whatever they wanted. Their DBs were pretty banged up for a lot of the year, in fairness to at least that defensive back room. You can see 79th in the country in pass yards per game. But when Brett Bielema says, coming down the stretch of the season, that he's going to get a little bit more hands-on, a little bit more involved in the defense, it's probably not going well. And, I mean, we had known for weeks that it wasn't going well. With that being said, I never really was in the camp that they should fire Aaron Henry. I don't think they're going to do that. They probably would have done that by this point. I mean, we're really late in the coaching cycle. If they were going to make a change there, they would have done that already. So Aaron Henry will get another year as defensive coordinator, and I don't think that that's a bad thing. I think he's a young guy that is still learning the ropes and learning how to call a defense. I think it'll get better. He's a really good leader of men, speaks really eloquently. So I think it'll be better. It has to be better next year, I would say, for Aaron Henry and the Illinois defense. The best performance, team-wise, I think is USC. The USC game. If you remember back, they won on a walk-off field goal by David Alano, 34-32. Think about this. Illinois fumbled at the goal line twice in this game and still won, which is pretty incredible. And the defense struggled a little bit in this game, but that wasn't really a surprise. I thought they actually battled in this game. USC is just a pretty high-powered offense, and Machi Lemon won the Biletnikoff for a reason. But this was by far the most fun game that Illinois played all season long. Most of the time, they were either getting blown out or were blowing out other teams. This was the one game that was kind of in doubt, could go either way, and they were able to come out on top. I think this was the best team performance. USC, pretty good team, and it was a big win for Illinois at that point in the season, and still, as we look back on the season as a whole, really, really good win, and I think the best performance from Illinois as a team this year. Honorable mention, I'm going to say the Ohio State game is an honorable mention. They didn't win, and it was a two-score game, but I thought they played well in that game. I thought the defense kind of got hung out to dry in that game by the offense. There was just a couple of mistakes that were really a killer, but outside of that, I thought that was a really well-played game by Illinois. So honorable mention to Ohio State. They scored the most points on Ohio State all year long. The worst performance from Illinois this year, a couple of candidates for this one. I thought about Washington because they were off the bye. They needed to win it. Didn't show up. I thought about Indiana, 63-10. But we didn't know how good Indiana was at that point, so it kind of felt worse than it ended up being, although I'm not sure a 53-point loss can ever get any better. But I went with Wisconsin because they just got pushed around by 4-7 Wisconsin at the time. 4-7 Wisconsin, 27-10. Altmaier got crushed multiple times in this game. They couldn't run the ball, and on the flip side, Wisconsin ran it down their throats. All they wanted. I mean, 209 yards, 4.8 a pop. They popped like an 80-yarder at one point. They won this game with 92 passing yards with a quarterback that had thrown like 10 career passes before this game. This was ugly. It was bad football to watch, and if you made the trip to Madison, I'm sure you're still kicking yourself, why would I go to that game? It was it was a really bad effort, still with a lot to play for Illinois in that season. But they lost it. Worst performance of the season goes to the Wisconsin game. You want to talk the bowl game? Let's talk the bowl game. Music City Bowl, Illinois versus Tennessee down in Nashville, December 30th. It's a 4:30 Central Time kickoff. Let's look at the Illinois opt-outs. Pretty minimal. Gabe Akis is declared for the NFL draft. He won't play. J.C. Davis is declared for the NFL draft. He won't play. Matt Bailey, not really an opt-out, but he won't play because he got shoulder surgery after the season, after the regular season. So he won't play. Luke Altmaier will play in this game. That was kind of the one we were waiting for. I expected him to play. He is playing. He's going to have a bunch of family members there. For Tennessee, Arion Carter, Chris Brazzell, they're both going to the NFL draft. Arion Carter, he's probably a day 2 pick. Chris Brazzell could be a first-round pick, I think, at wide receiver. Jermod McCoy might even be a first-round pick, too. He hasn't even played all year, so this wasn't a surprise that he's not playing in this game. And then Tennessee, like I said a couple of weeks ago, their quarterback, Joey Aguilar, is going to play in this game, too. So pretty full rosters for both of these teams heading into this game. What is Tennessee? Well, offensively, they are outstanding. They are really tough to defend in pretty much every aspect. I mean, they're 50th in rushing, and they're still running for 175 yards a game on top of 307 passing. This is an outstanding Tennessee offense. Without Chris Brazzell, it's Braylon Staley and Mike Matthews, and you say, okay, well, at least their best receiver isn't playing. Yeah, both those guys had 800 yards too on the season. So it's a lot to think about defensively for an Illinois defense that struggled for a large part of the year. But, I mean, you can see those Tennessee ranks. They are high flying. At tailback, Josh Heupel is always going to have a good running game, or at least a good tailback. Deshaun Bishop is a 1,000-yard back. He's got breakaway speed. There's no weak spot on this Tennessee offense. They protect Joey Aguilar pretty well. And, you know, we're 12 games later, but coming into the season, the worry about Joey Aguilar was that he was going to turn the ball over, and he hasn't really done that even this year. It's very difficult to get them off the field on third down, too. It really is a complete Tennessee offense. Defensively for Tennessee, not good. Not good at all. No Arion Carter makes a bad defense even worse. If they had any defense, I think they'd probably be 10-2, 11-1 in the playoff. The pass defense is hilariously bad. There's going to be some opportunities for Luke Altmaier and Hank Beatty and Colin Dixon, whoever you want to say, in the pass game. And if Illinois can get to what Tennessee is averaging giving up on the ground, if Illinois runs for 150, they probably win this game by 2 or 3 touchdowns. Tennessee can't afford to let Illinois run the ball too, when that's something that Illinois has struggled with all season long. They do get some turnovers, but Illinois, on the other hand, isn't very turnover prone. We saw earlier Luke Altmaier's only thrown 5 picks all year. So I don't know if that's really an edge for Tennessee. And the other part of this Tennessee defense is that they fired Tim Banks, their defensive coordinator, a couple of weeks ago. And so they're in a transition there. They hired Jim Knowles from Penn State. He wasn't going to be retained by the new staff up in Happy Valley. So there's a transition defensively for Tennessee on top of it not being a very good group. They have talent on defense, but it hasn't come together, I would say. They've got probably a first or second, third round corner, something like that, outside of Jermod McCoy, who didn't play all year. What are the advantages for Illinois in this game? I think it's pretty clear that their advantage is on offense, and it's pretty clear that their disadvantage is on defense. So to me, this game screams points, points, points. That's what this game screams. These are kind of a couple, some more niche statistics there that you're seeing on your screen. Illinois is a little more stingy in the red zone when it comes to giving up touchdowns on defense. Their defensive third down percentage getting off the field is a little bit better. Tennessee is better at staying on the field on offense. Tennessee has a couple of more flags. I mean, it's one flag really difference. And Illinois holds onto the ball a little bit better, but Tennessee, the reason their time of possession is so low, I mean, they score 50 points a game. Their time of possession is so low because they score so quickly. So it's on Illinois' offense to outscore Tennessee's offense, I would say. With that being said, who do we think is going to? It's always going to be hard to know who's going to show up for a bowl game like this. I do think that Illinois has more to play for here. Tennessee doesn't care about this game. This line opened at 6.5 in favor of Tennessee. It's down to 2.5. So I'll take the 2.5 points. I think Illinois is going to win because they have more to play for. Illinois can use this in recruiting. Hey, we beat a good SEC team. They can use it as a springboard into next season, much like they did with the Citrus Bowl win over South Carolina last year. And Brett Bielema has talked about this. These kinds of things are important for a program like Illinois, who's not in the upper echelon of the Big Ten, but are fighting to try to get closer and closer and closer to being that. They need these games. They need their image to continue to expand in a positive direction, because before Brett Bielema got there, all people knew about Illinois was that they were terrible. That's changed now, and for good reason, especially because of the last couple of years, and they have a chance to win 9 games back-to-back seasons for the first time ever. And I think that's important. I think that's a program milestone that I'm sure they're aware of. So I like all of those factors for why I'm picking Illinois, and I'm not picking Tennessee, because Tennessee, it's just another game that they have to play. I don't think they're all too fired up about it. And I know it's in Nashville, but I mean, we saw the Tennessee-Illinois basketball game a couple weeks back in Nashville. It was a pretty split crowd, so I think there's going to be a lot of Illinois fans too. I don't think it's a Tennessee home game by any means. So I'm taking Illinois. I'm taking them to cover the 2.5, obviously, because I'm picking them outright. And then, like I said, I think it's points. I'm going to give you the over 61.5 too, because I don't see Illinois' defense stopping a whole lot either. I just want to get my national title pick on the record a little bit. We're getting to the end of the season. It's almost over. I'm just going to give you my final 4. I've got Texas Tech over Indiana, and then I've got Ohio State over Georgia in the final 4. That leaves our national championship game as Texas Tech, Ohio State. I'm picking Ohio State to go back-to-back. It gives me no pleasure. It really doesn't. It gives me no pleasure to say that. But they're the best team. I know Indiana beat them, and I have a lot of respect for Indiana too. The reason I picked Texas Tech is because that game to me would be so interesting with those defenses, and I think Texas Tech has enough offense to overcome Indiana's defense too. Not that Indiana couldn't do it to Texas Tech too. To me, that's a coin flip game. I picked Texas Tech. Ohio State, I think, is better than both of those teams. So I'll pick Ohio State to go back-to-back. Whatever. It's going to happen anyway. Might as well pick it. That's going to do it for us here. Quick show, quick Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, day after Christmas, whenever you're watching it. Next week, we are back full-time into basketball. Football season's over. We're full-time talking basketball, talking Illinois hoops. Can they get things rolling as we get into Big Ten play? We're going to break it all down coming up next week. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you again next week.